It's what everyone is talking about, Fangate. The Florida governor's race turned into a nationwide joke at the start of last night's debate.
Yeah, the comics having a good time with this one today, and some seriously awkward moments.
Let me explain what this is all about. Governor Christ has asked to have a fan, a small fan, placed underneath his podium. The rules of the debate that I was shown by the Scott campaign say that there should be no fan. Somehow there is a fan there, and for that reason, ladies and gentlemen, I am being told that Governor Scott will not join us for this debate.
That was the reaction. The audience began shouting, demanding the fan be removed, while Christ kept that fan, and Scott, as you can see, eventually came out. Things, though, stayed weird after that.
Why did you insist on bringing a fan here when your campaign knew this would be a contentious issue?
Why not? You know, is there anything wrong with being comfortable?
Why the delay in coming out over a fan?
Well, I waited until we figured out if he was going to show up. He said he wasn't going to come to the. He said he was going to come to the debate.
All our important issues in Florida, and this is what we're speaking about with our two gubernatorial candidates who were on the podium. Well, we spoke with both candidates about Fangate, as it's now being called, while they were out on the campaign trail today.
That's right. Christ was here in Orlando. Governor Rick Scott was near West Palm. So let's start things off with Scott.
Sure. Charlie was throwing a fit, saying he wasn't going to go on stage, so we waited to see if he was even going to show up. So eventually he did. I think he was probably worried about his track record. He had a tough debate on last Friday night. He wanted to talk about the 832,000 jobs that were lost when he was governor.
Well, I don't see anything wrong with being comfortable, and so I'm glad we were able to go ahead and have the debate. I was sorry that Rick Scott came late, but glad he showed up. Better late than never, I suppose. And fortunately, we had the opportunity to compare and contrast about issues that really do matter.
On our power panel tonight, we have political editor Craig Patrick and political analyst Frank Torres. Thank you both for being with us tonight. Let's start with Rick Scott. He is now saying today that he didn't refuse to get on stage last night because of that fan. He says he didn't get on stage because he didn't know that Charlie Crist was actually on stage. Are you believing Scott's excuse? Frank, let's start with you.
You know, it's really hard to believe. You know, it's a really loud environment. You can hear the moderators out there. There is an aspect, maybe he could have believed that it was the moderators or the commentators warming the audience up. However, with that many people, you know, in the governor's ear and his team as big as it is a tough excuse to believe.
Yeah, it was 4.5 minutes that the moderator was speaking. Craig, are you buying what Scott's selling here?
Well, you can't rule it out, but at the very least, this is a big unforced error for Governor Scott. If you believe that your opponent is not there, you certainly don't want to be sitting on your hands in some room backstage. You would logically want to proceed into the debate. In fact, as Charlie Crist did, and say, where's my opponent? And you could then take it from there. Gee, we had some issue maybe with a fan. The wind blows him whichever way. Maybe it blew him away. There are a lot of things he could have said here, but instead he was just gone, missing in action, and seconds turn into minutes. And what you have here is, it really is the most awkward, painfully awkward, bizarre moment I've ever seen in Florida politics.
Yeah, another embarrassing moment for Florida politics. So, Craig, who do you think looks worse here? Scott, who it seems like he was being a big baby over a fan, or Christ, who possibly wasn't following the rules here?
Well, generally, this reflects poorly on both of them, and this just reinforces negative perceptions that voters have. Remember, each of these candidates have very high unfavorability ratings, and this just feeds into that narrative that a lot of voters don't care for either one. So it could pull both of them down, but clearly here, this makes Rick Scott look very bad, regardless of the circumstances, whether he was given confusing or bad information or not. Bottom line is, he just left us hanging singing until 7:08 as live cameras were rolling all across the state.
Yeah, Frank, who do you think looked worse last night?
Well, I think the governor looked worse last night, and you try to think about the reasoning that might have gone into this this delay, this situation that got us this dispute over the fan. Was it a throwback to 2010 when Rick Scott called out his opponent then, Alex Sink, over a cell phone that was on stage? Did he try to get a similar effect and try to paint Chris as a rule breaker in that light? Was it to show that Chris wasn't respecting the rules of the engagement of the debate? So you try to wonder what was going on with the thought process behind the Scott campaign last night, and how much damage will it do moving forward?
Yeah, whatever it was, the thought process, I don't think it worked, right?
I don't think it did.
All right. Frank Torres, Craig
No,
Patrick.
clearly it didn't work.
Yeah, thank you both. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Want to join the debate on Fangate? Which candidate do you think came out looking worse last night? You can like our Facebook page. Just go to facebook.com/Fox35 News.